What is it do you like about Coke?
I love the smell of it.
Is raw. It's raw every goddamn year.
Yes,
Hey man,
Lord.
serve 'em raw, goddammit.
Subscribe to Serving It Raw and let's keep it
all the way funky, uncut, raw. Serving it raw just like my boy Gutter Kane.
Yes, Lord. You done tapped into Serving the Raw podcast. I am your host, Gutter Kane, the Gutter Man, the Pyrex Iron Chef. And today's special guest is a Pacific Northwest R&B artist, a true independent grind success story, and one of the most consistent voices coming out of Tacoma. From American Idol to touring with legends like Boyz II Men and McKnight, to building his own lane as an independent artist and charting without a label. He's proof that resilient beats hype every time. Servers, help me welcome to the show, Rocky Sandoval. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? That is quite the intro. Just hearing that is kind of gave me chills a little bit. But all praise to the Most High, man. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Already, yeah. I just wanted to showcase, man, and let give you a chance to really cement your legacy, document it, put it out there for your fans, your family, and even people that haven't discovered your music.
Yeah,
they can get on board and let them know exactly what you're doing and give you your flowers today.
that's super dope, man. Again, thank you. It's an honor. Can't wait to chop it up with you and just talk. It's weird because I'm used to it, right? But I don't really like to talk about myself.
Gotcha.
Maybe now, especially when I'm in this position, because I've been at this for 2 decades plus almost, right? Yeah, I've been at this for a minute. Maybe when I was younger, sure, you're always like, you want to show what you've done, and now it's to a point where it's pretty cool to have other people kind of celebrate you a little bit more, and you just kind of in the background, like, yeah, I can be proud of that stuff. And when you have a 2-decade indie grind career, to reflect on a lot of the stuff that I've done is sometimes I take that for granted. I don't really do that as much because it's, we're in an industry where it's, what have you done for me lately? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just said that to somebody yesterday.
Like, oh shit, I did that. Oh yeah, damn, we did a record. Oh shit, we did a record with the business. That was okay. Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh damn, I did a song with him. That's so I think that's pretty cool.
Okay, yeah, I want you to just know that a lot of people, especially your fans, really appreciate the contributions that you have given to the culture.
That's awesome.
And I'm not talking about just past or present, but I know the future stuff that you're trying to roll out.
Mhm.
Hopefully, because I want to talk about a lot of stuff, man. That you got.
Sure, man. Let's do it. I'm ready. I've been looking forward to chopping it up with you, man.
Oh, appreciate that. All right, so take me back to Tacoma. Okay, before the stages. Okay, before the spotlight. What's the real beginning of Rocky Sandoval as an artist?
Man, I've never been afraid of the camera, I guess to say. I've always kind of felt like I was comfortable in front of the camera. My story is well documented. I got my start in music in 4th grade. My first love is a saxophone. So my grandmother bought my first saxophone with the help of my mom because, I love sports as a kid. I just, when everyone's in elementary, everyone's the same height. Everybody's the same height.
Yeah.
You get to junior high and it's like, damn, I didn't grow anymore. I was like, so I'm like, let me just stick to the music and shit. But
I'm sure
always had a love for just for melody and sounds. One of my earliest memories of actually performing was in kindergarten. I won. Oh, I didn't win. I placed second, but it was like from preschool all the way up until 6th grade at my elementary school in Texas, and I did Michael Jackson's ABC and Whitney Houston's Greatest Love of All a cappella. I was like this little mini dude, and that was my first taste of actually getting on stage and performing. And then of course, I transitioned into saxophone. My dad put me on old, Motown records. He loved the soul sound, all of the Manhattans, Al Green, that shit, man. Yeah, so that's kind of like where it started. And then I used music throughout K through 12 all the way to junior high and high school, playing the saxophone. That was my first love. But yeah, never been afraid
So
of the camera ever.
okay, so when you did the when you did the ABC
The
and
Michael
the Whitney,
Jackson 5 joint.
yeah, yeah, and the Whitney Houston, did you was that where you really like was that the moment that you said, okay, this is what I want to do?
I mean, maybe when you're 5 years old, you're not really thinking of it like that. I was just really trying
Okay,
to, your mom, Filipinos, they'll tell you, come on, you come perform for the family party. They make you do a little dancing song and stuff, and so I was
okay,
just never afraid of doing that.
gotcha.
It probably wasn't until the American Idol days when that first TV show, and I got a chance to get in front of that type of a stage and get into the studio and record songs. That's when I was like, all right, I want to do this for real. But I think back then it was just the love of performing, and
Okay,
I really believed that music was something that I was just drawn to.
okay,
Uh, but yeah, man, it was crazy. I have footage of that. I think one day, my mom has all of these archives, maybe you'll release them on YouTube sometime, but they were, if I look back on that, as clear as day. I had a gray suit with a gray bow tie. Um, I remember my brother trying to jump on stage to sing with me. Like it was that I remembered that. And
that's what's up.
I'm damn near in my 40s, man. So to remember that takes quite a bit of memory.
Okay. Now, as you were saying that you went from playing the saxophone and studying music to stepping on the stage like American Idol at a young age, at what moment did it stop being this is fun and become okay, this is what I'm willing to struggle for?
Ma- uh, I think that was a turning point. So leading up until American Idol, I started writing. I was a closet singer for a long time. I played saxophone, and I really wanted to be a professional saxophone player.
Mm,
Remember my junior high and high school experiences were wonderful. Like I was really into the saxophone. I won jazz band player of the year at my high school. I was the drum major for the marching band at a very young age. So I was just used to spotlight. I was used to um, kind of being. I loved soloing. Like I always played the first chair part for the saxophone. So I don't know if maybe when you're young, you want to be the top, right? You want to be
yep,
the
yep. You'll be the leader.
want to be the leader.
Hmm.
And so during that time, I wanted to do that, and I feel like I was talked out of it because I remember the counselors were like, "There's no money in, like, what do you want to do for a living?" And I'm like, "I want to play the saxophone." Or I actually wanted to fly fighter jets. Excuse me. I wanted to be a pilot, but my
Oh,
eyesight was bad.
damn.
I had glasses in like fourth grade, man. And so now I still wear, actually I wear scleral lenses now, which are like the top of the top. Like you have to have the most fucked up eyes possible to be wearing scleral lenses. But
Oh,
I've been
damn.
wearing thick glasses since I was, man, a kid. And so, which was a major insecurity for me at the time, man. But going back to, what we were talking about as far as, um, wanting to do it for real was probably after the American Idol stuff, because leading up to the American Idol, when this is like 2002, I believe,
Okay.
the year that Kelly Clarkson won, I got to the top 50 in Seattle, so that was pretty cool. You get to sing for Paula, Randy, and Simon, all of the makeup and all that shit, man. Get the yellow golden ticket, the
Yeah.
heart round, that was a surreal moment for me. And I went in there super green, man. Matter of fact, leading up until that point, I was telling you I was a closet singer,
Right.
as everybody knew me as a saxophone player. But I was always writing. I always wrote melodies. I used to write, when I was 12, 13, I used to listen to Kenny G.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Shout out to
man,
Kenny.
I used to write to Kenny's melodies.
Oh, shit.
I would write my own songs with his melodies because so that's kind of like where I got my first taste, and where like, because a lot of the times, I looked at myself first as a singer or as a songwriter first rather than a singer. And I'll tell you why, because uh, going up until the American Idol joint, I was told that I wasn't good enough to be a front man. I'd have to be a background singer or a writer. Um, I wasn't the front man. And it's weird because when you're a kid and you are the front man, right?
Yeah.
then you get to a point where people are telling you that you don't have the chops. I just think it comes with just maturity and growing into your own, man. And it took a really long time. That was some of the feedback that I got from American Idol, from
Okay.
Paula Abdul and Simon. They were like, they didn't tell me I was good, or they didn't tell me I was really bad or really good. I was just kind of in the middle. And they're like, I did Usher's "You Remind Me." That was my audition piece, and
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder's "My Cherie Amour." And with Usher, that "You Remind Me" record was like the biggest record at the time. And I did all the fucking dance moves, and I had it all down to a T. And they was like, it was it's not bad. It ain't that good, but we're not looking for the next Usher. We want the first Rocky Sandoval.
Okay.
That bugged me. I was like, oh shit. I spent my first probably 10 to 15 years trying to find out who the fuck Rocky Sandoval was, man. Like I
Damn.
literally that was always in the back of my mind. So like when you look back and you reflect on that, you're like, so many experiences, so many pieces of advice that stemmed from that American Idol thing. It's funny because that's how people like, oh yeah, when they'll be like, I remember you from American Idol, and I don't know what they did with the audition tapes because they pulled them. They're so long ago.
Okay.
The show runs now; it still runs. But if you
Yeah.
Google Rocky Sandoval American Idol, all of the info pops up because yeah, that was my first taste of what it was like to actually do it for real.
Okay. And you've seen a lot of inside reality TV because not only American Idol, but Making the Band and The Voice as well.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
were-
yeah, yeah.
what's something people don't understand about that world that's completely changed how you view the industry?
Well, the contracts are crazy. If you
Okay.
are on those, I have a deep respect for people who do those TV shows because we're so desperate. We're like all trying to get on, especially before, right? Now,
Mhm.
I think there's ways, and I don't know. I haven't been in the reality space realm in over 20 years, but when I was in that audition phase, and I also because I did MTV's singer-songwriter show, The Score, and it was
Yeah.
Ryan Cabrera, produced by Ashley Simpson's dad. So they did a whole episode dedicated to me. I still have footage for that too. But I remember that experience and where it was like two contestants, you write a song for a girl behind, when MTV had all them TV shows like Next, or you get to choose the date, like that heyday of during that era,
Yeah.
uh show called The Score. And I got a real taste of what it was like to do reality TV. And a lot of those lines they're fed to you, they insinuate it to you.
Ah, ain't that some shit?
And I actually befriended the guy. His name was Aziz. Yeah, it's a black dude, Aziz, who was a Caribbean singer. And I was pinned up against him. And we did this song. I did like more of a, band type of kind of how could I explain it? Like 70s Motown, try to get the girl song. And he did a Caribbean song for this girl behind the screen. And I remember we had to banter back and forth because we actually liked each other. Like there was no beef. So, and in reality TV show, it's really it's dramatic effect. You say the
Okay.
wildest shit on there, you know. Nowadays, what they call it, especially in our time, is you're going viral for some shit you say. That's why when I watch reality TV stars, I watch TV, I watch the media. Um, like I got my media training super early because I was like, damn, all right, so this is how it is. Um, doing the American Idol stuff, there was things that when you tell your story, they want you to say certain things. The media is really good. They're able to kind of dictate the narrative that they want. And I remember doing when I did The Voice, um, I think that my tape that got me to the round to where I needed to be, it didn't advance more because my story wasn't. I didn't have a story, and they love
Gotcha.
it. They want a story, right? You ever
Ah,
know the my mom's dying of cancer. My dad is deaf. I got one leg, and you got hella talent. They love that story. They'll put that in the forefront. And those types of contestants for those types of shows seem to come up in the front. I used to joke around with myself because I thought it was just about talent, but I'm like, I should have just, sang in a Superman costume. because it was so outrageous. And then they'll be like, "Oh, who's this guy in a Superman costume?" And then you sing, and then if they like your talent, they move you forward. Because you notice the old American Idol stuff, they used to put really bad people on that shit just for the reality ratings, you know. And so that was kind of my taste, man.
Damn, boy, you dropping some shit. I ain't gonna lie.
I have seen
Damn.
shit behind the scenes, man. That's why I really like, these shows where they tap into your family life and shit, man. Like I feel like you have to have a part of you that is still a part of you, but they dangle the carrot of fame in front of a lot of us artists, right?
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
that clout chasing shit has been going on since I started getting into the business and probably prior. The way they do things now is different because of the way the internet has completely changed the game. But those were still great times and they were great experiences for me. It's nice to have them under my belt, but I know what's going on with the reality TV shows, bro.
Gotcha. Well, okay. I have to tell you, well, not tell you, I have to ask you this. Okay, now you made that leap from Tacoma to LA chasing the dream.
Chasing the dream.
You was couch surfing,
Couch surfing, bro.
odd jobs, and you was in
We were
starving
done.
artist life.
Starving artist life.
Yeah. What was your lowest moment during that time? And what did it teach you that still shows up in your career today?
That's a great question, man. I stay, sometimes, it's a long ago, so sometimes I don't know if it's necessarily exaggerated, but I've been saying it like I think I had like $23 or something in my bank account. When I did American Idol, I'm like, yo, I'm moving to LA. I like that I got it. I got what it takes. Like I know I got this whole shit figured out. And at the time, I was dating a girl that lived out there.
Okay.
And so I'm like, let me just move down there. So we grinded it out there. And I'm like, oh, I want to go to school. And that's when I went to the Music Institute in Hollywood.
Yeah. Okay. I remember you saying
And I
that.
was working as a cashier at I believe it was a naval base because here in Washington I was working at Fort Lewis at 17 years old,
Okay.
making $15 an hour, thinking I was the man because I was like, but after the American Idol thing, I wanted to build on that momentum. But um, during my time in LA, when I was going to school, I was doing all of the auditions. I was trying to get on. I have so many stories of trying to sneak into the Tracy Babyface Edmonds building, which was on Cahuenga, which was really close to where our school was. It was a few blocks down, to try to get my demo out there.
Gotcha.
Uh, it was crazy because I I didn't think that I was struggling. When you're chasing something, you don't know you're struggling,
Oh yeah, you're right. You don't
right?
realize it. You don't
You
pay
don't
attention
realize
to
that
it.
shit, right?
Yep.
You're like,
In
okay,
the
yeah, we
moment.
making it happen. All right, cool.
Hmm.
And I lived right next to the cemetery, and I had no idea that where we were living was one of the worst parts of LA. It
Oh
was
shit.
where the Ave, they call it the avenues, right there on the 2 freeway in Glendale. That's where they fucking shot Training Day. I had
Oh
no,
shit.
yeah,
Oh
yeah. We would be sleeping, and then there's helicopters that would be flying over our fucking apartment complex. Um, Constant cops that were coming, but we never had any issues. And I think it's because I blended in with the Mexicans, man. You shave my head, I look Mexican. So, you know, uh, those times were just, they were I needed those experiences though. But,
okay.
I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but I think it was when the girl that I was with, she left me. And so I couldn't afford living in the apartment by myself. So I had to, my pride was too big to come home back to Washington. And mind you, I had family in Burbank and in San Bernardino that I could kind of lean and fall back on. So that was really, really helpful. I don't want to discredit them at all. But when you're young and you're going through that, you just was like, man, fuck this, me against the world, right? You just kind of
Yep.
making it happen. I was sleeping on uh, friends' couches. I was utilizing all of my classmates. They would let me crash at their place. Um, we used to I was so broke, bro. I was a broke college student trying to become this star. Um, working odd jobs. I worked at a catering company. I worked at a cleaning company. I
Damn.
played tenor saxophone for shit for a church that I would travel about an hour and a half to go play for, and then whatever I could do to make some money, and then just because I really wanted to stay in LA. That was like my goal
Yeah.
because I was motivated at that time by my relationship, and at the time my girlfriend was kind of advancing into the fashion industry, and here I am, this broke, you know, aspiring, struggling artist. So I was really, really, really insecure, like really insecure.
Okay.
So I carried that for a while, but that was probably my lowest point is when I never really talked about this, but I got lost in the party scene. I I got lost in drugs and alcohol. I got a chance to see what that shit was like. Now I understand why people they do that shit out there. Like LA will steal your soul if you let it. Um,
Did you not want to seem like a failure to
yes,
your family? Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
big time, because they were against it. They were against moving to LA for whatever reason. Um, I remember moving there with my car and then moving back. My car was fucking fucked up and look all beat up because I didn't, I was also irresponsible. I was immature, learned a lot of stuff there. I remember driving my car around Beverly Hills and they used to pull me over because they thought I was a drug dealer because my car was so beat up. Um,
Damn.
there was one incident I remember I'll never forget. I was with my friend Lauren and she was in the front passenger seat. We were driving around Beverly Hills, and the cops pulled me over. They thought I was a drug dealer, and they had arrested me in front of all of these rich people. I'm literally on the ground with my hands cuffed like this, and they were trying to be like, "Where the drugs at? Where the drugs at?" And I'm
Damn.
like, "No,
Stereotype.
yeah." I was like, I'm not like that, like." And they then eventually let me go, and I'll never forget that. And so those experiences just kind of shape you to where you're at now, but. Um, One of probably the best decision I did was to regroup and get back to Washington. But my lowest point in LA was that where I was living on my own because I had split up from my lady and I was broke as shit, man. I was so
Okay.
broke. Yep.
Now you coming back to Washington and then opening up for legends like Boyz II Men and Brian McKnight, Ginuwine, and New Edition. What did being around that level of greatness teach you about longevity and professionalism? Because you
Whew.
did say that was the best move. You coming back to Washington.
Yeah, so I moved back to Washington in 2008. So I didn't even finish school, man. Like that was probably my biggest thing. And the relationships that I built in school was probably the best thing that I got out of LA.
Okay.
The Music Institute, it harbors a lot of players. Anderson Paak came out of there. My man Ron Avant, who plays for the Free Nationals, he's the keyboard player. At the time, Bruno Mars was doing his thing.
Oh yeah.
Um, just that whole camp. Philip Lawrence, just people that are on that we see that are the major stars now. They were in that realm, and I feel like sometimes if I felt if I would have just stuck it out a little bit longer, I would eventually have gotten to those circles. At the time in R&B, what the biggest producers in the game were the underdogs. And I don't know if you're familiar with the underdogs, but they did, How You Gonna Act Like That, Tyrese, Omarion's O, Harvey Mason Jr. and Dame Thomas were like my idols. So when I heard that sound, I was like, I started creating records that were like this. Mind you, I was working with a couple of guys back there that, because in LA, the great thing about Los Angeles is at any moment in time, in the strike of luck, you can it can happen because that's just where the market is.
Yeah.
You literally it can happen like that. But chances are it's not really like that. Um, but it can, right place, right opportunity, go time. And I just think that I felt like my mental health was more important at the time because I
Okay.
wasn't doing anything music. So I regrouped. That conversation with my father coming back to come get me was like a huge failure. We talked all the way home, from the drive because he flew down and then he drove with me back up to Washington. And, my dad is a proud Filipino man. And so to hear his stories, for 18 fucking hours, it put a new light on perspective. And I was what, 23, 24 at the time, 25 coming back home. And so that was 2008. I literally took a break from music. I was like, fuck, I'm done, man. Like, I don't want to do music. I was working retail. I worked at the Bellevue Square Mall, Macy's. I
Oh
moved
yeah.
to the Mall, Macy's.
Man, how
Uh,
hard, man, how hard was it really like for you to make the decision to come back? Like, did you make the call or did your family call you and then it was like,
my mom is my heart. And, to see her hurting, not really hurting because she was like, she one of those people like, I told you so, right?
yeah,
Um, I think at the time you have to put your ego aside. And plus, I'm blessed, man. I am fucking blessed because I have a family that supports me. They
yeah,
will they will ride with me. And I don't know if that also hinders me because I look at other people who would look at my situation and be like, man, we don't have no choice. We gotta, I don't got parents that I can lean on. And so I understand that, right? But for me, it was one of those things where it was like, yeah, this is gonna be the right move because I've trusted the advice from my parents. And they're like, reset yourself. Um, you know, I knew that if I would have stayed in LA a little bit longer, it could have been really, really detrimental to my mental health, man. Really. So, when I moved back up here, I just got a regular job. And then I was like, because I didn't finish school, I'm like, let me just go finish school. But I didn't want to do it. I'm like, I'm cool. I'm good. But during that time when I was working at Macy's, I met a dude named Franz Vibert. He goes by Vibes, and I played him the stuff that I had recorded in LA. He was like, "Yo, you need to be out here. I don't know no Asian singers like you. What are you doing?" And he took my tape to DJ Funk Daddy. Um,
yeah.
and,
He's a prominent DJ up there in Seattle.
and DJ Funk Daddy took my tape and gave it to this dude named Steve Ocean Brown. And he goes by Ocean. He had Ocean Records at the time. He had a little mixtape joint out in Lakewood. He'd managed Criminal Nation for a while, but he was in there with all them guys with Mix a Lot in them. And they
Shout
were,
out to Criminal Nation.
yeah, Sham Out Criminal Nation. Um, and this is funny because prior to me coming back to Washington, from LA, prior to that, I was in the mix. I did a lot of stuff with like Island Tribe. I was in the island music stuff.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
and less Soleil, less lessons. They were big in the hot import night scene. So that whole, On Fire Entertainment, like those were my guys. They would let me sing hooks for them. And so, so that was one era. And then I thought that I graduated by going to with the American Idol stuff and then going to LA. So it's like my time frame that I look at it was like grinding in high school, Tacoma, then LA, then back to Tacoma. But prior to moving to LA, I thought I had this whole little cool movement that I was doing with Tacoma prior in like 2002.
Gotcha.
So to come back though, I really started tapping into to the R&B market. Like I was like, I'm really gonna go for it. But anyway, they gave me a shot and they put me on the Ladies Night Out tour. And that was, the first one had sold out. It was bananas. They've never seen that show here before. I believe it was 112. No. Casey and JoJo, John B. I forgot who else. Shy. It was that, the old school iconic R&B artists that were coming through at the Kent Showwear Center. Sometimes they'd go to the Angel of the Winds arena out there in Everett, but they put me on that particular tour.
Okay.
And that's where things started to take off during that time frame. The very first person that I opened up for that I was like, oh my God, this is like my dreams are coming true was Ginuwine at the vault. He was at the vault and I was one of his opening acts. I'll never
Hold
forget.
on. The vault in they used
In
to be in Olympia?
Olympia, man.
Oh shit. That's a while ago.
That was a while ago, and I remember meeting him. They pulled me in, like his manager at the time was Terrence, his road manager, and I'll never forget, man, because that was my very first time also. So I understand, like, because I mentor a lot of younger artists now. I feel like that's my responsibility to pay it forward. But
Ooh, that's what's up.
yeah,
Message.
yeah, pay it forward, man. Like you'll get that shit back. But during that time, you had to, you pay to play. Hey, we're gonna give you 50 tickets, right? You got to slang them for $30. You keep five. Man, I moved those things in like 3 days. I was,
Damn.
that's where I also learned the art of selling.
Okay.
So, and this goes back to my mantra. Now, I don't care about like that clout chasing shit. Don't mean nothing to me. And I learned that because of all of my experiences. I have people who I know, some of them are friends of mine, got millions of streams, tons of followers, all this accolade. They can't sell 20 tickets to their hometown show. They don't know how. So, and here I am learning at a very early age on how to slang these tickets, how to move them, right? Guerrilla style. But I remember doing that shit for Ginuwine, man, and they were so impressed with it that they brought me back to every time there was a major artist that came to Washington that were doing that circuit, they would put me in front of it because I was able to move tickets anywhere from Marcus Houston, Trey Songz, Bobby Valentino, Lloyd, whoever was coming through, they would
Yeah.
put me on because of my ability to move tickets. But yeah, that very first time that I met Ginuwine, and it's funny because I told him this story when I went on tour with him because I did multiple shows with Ginuwine, but prior he had told me we were in the back thing at the vault. I was able to sneak my way into the VIP area, and he was shook my hand, looked me right in my face, and look, man, you fire, bro, you fire. I'm gonna call you tomorrow. Wait for my call tomorrow. Man, he ain't called me, bro. I waited for I cleared my whole day. I didn't do shit the next day. I just waited, hoping for him to call me. But when we were on
Okay.
that same bill, something clicked that your live performance is your bread and butter
Okay.
as a musician. It ain't about the hottest song. You must be able to perform and deliver live. And so I took that. That was just another lesson for me was like, all right, I am going to solely focus on my live show because for the longest time, I just wanted like to be the best. You want to be the best. You want to be the best, man. It don't nobody that don't matter. Just
Okay.
focus on the live show. Be able to connect with your audience because I watched Ginuwine manipulate that whole audience. And there's what 750 people in there, but every
Yeah.
single people in there, especially the females, he had that shit on lock. And I studied that, and I studied a lot of that on that tour. So, fast forward, when I was invited to do the Ladies Night Out tour, I would, when we'd be backstage, I have tons of footage of just us at the sound check, just watching these guys. I remember watching Casey Haley from Casey and JoJo,
Mm-hmm.
just his preparation um, was incredible. I have so many stories about that too because I used to play my records for Casey and JoJo, man. They brought me on stage at the Fresno Save Mart Center, and I was singing Jodeci songs with them, Drew Hill, John B, Ginuwine, and it was the craziest night of my life.
Oh
It's on
shit.
YouTube. Yeah, I remember JoJo giving me their microphone, and I'm forgetting the fucking words, man. Like, um, so it's crazy because I'm like, I've not, I don't really reflect on a lot of the old stuff. So you kind of asking me about these is like, dang, I
Hey,
really did
it's
that. Pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah, man. Hey, you gotta sometimes you gotta look back, man, at what you've done and really show some appreciation. A lot of times we be moving so fast, we never get a chance to really do that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. So I feel like I just completely lost your question, but
That's fine. Look, you didn't lose it. You still on topic. You still going. You telling your truth. You telling your story.
I
We not
appreciate
gonna
it, man.
legacy.
Damn, it's almost therapeutic to be able to talk about that kind of stuff because yeah, and I try to tell people, especially like the younger artists now, man, like just enjoy the journey. You just never know what's going to happen.
Okay. No, the question just was for like what did it teach you about longevity and professionalism, which you stated that when you were saying how you paid attention to the way Genuine did his on stage
Mhm.
performances, and then you said you would sit back and watch Casey and JoJo and stuff like that. So no, you answered that one just fine.
Yeah, yeah, and I wanted to add one more thing. It
Mhm.
also taught me that all of the stuff that I heard about with going on tour and the groupies and the madness is fucking real, man. Like I saw it firsthand with my own eyes. about what that shit was like, and I was like, dang. I saw the great thing about, and this is a testament to Steve-O and his whole team. They treated me like a normal. They didn't treat me like some small dude. Like I felt like I was on par with those guys. They gave me
Mhm.
my own dressing room. They would give me my own. They were paying me. I thought I made it. I'm like, damn, I made it. I'm out there, having shot. John B would come into my dressing room and drink shots with my family. Like
Damn.
that's incredible shit. And my parents, my mom don't know who they are. They just, fucking John B,
She's
man.
she don't know about that cool relax.
Man, come on now. Drew Hill was in there. Jazz was in our dressing room, and my mom was just hugging on him. I'm like, that's Drew Hill, ma. Like, um, so those were just amazing times, man. But it also taught me how to handle all the aspects of trying to be an artist. And then you can get lost in that really quickly if you don't have the right team around you, stuff like that. So it really prepared me for, like, if this is the life that you want to do, then you do that. That tour actually showed me how to put on my own tour, and
Okay.
I attempted those multiple times. Some of them successful, some of them not.
Okay. Now, before you were saying that there was a period where you were kind of chasing the sound,
Yeah.
at the part where you were talking about they didn't want the next Usher,
Mhm.
they wanted the next Rocky Sandoval. So I know in another interview, you said you were chasing sounds like Justin Timberlake, Neo, Chris Brown, stuff like that. You're just trying to find your lane. When did you finally feel like this is Rocky? Not the next anybody. This is me.
It crazy because the biggest record that I've done so far was obviously my partnership with Warner Music. And this was right pre-COVID, in the middle of COVID. But prior to that, I did a record with the Stereotypes, and this was a really major turning point in my career. Obviously, we're familiar with what the Stereotypes have done. I mean, they cleaned house for 24K Magic. And that getting that meeting and getting that opportunity was already big in itself. So when I was able to do that record, August Rigo wrote the record. Still in Love is one of my biggest records. And to this day, I'm like, dang, that I really thought that was going to take off. And that's how I realized that I'm not in control anymore. It's really God. It's really up to him. But that sound, I've always loved R&B, nostalgia 90s R&B. And I remember before when I was doing those type of records, when I would talk to, and I don't even know if they're real A&Rs because I've never actually got into the label meetings. Excuse me, never got into the buildings. If I would go meet with Atlantic or if I'd meet with Def Jam, because I did some meetings in New York, we would always meet at a Starbucks or at a studio. It wasn't in the building. So I don't know. I just, when you're desperate trying to get on, you're just going wherever. Um, but they would be like, you're dope, but your sound's outdated. Like, you like R&B is basically R&B's dead kind of thing. And so, that was like soul crushing to me because I'm like, I don't know how else to be. Like, this is what I love.
Yeah.
I'm a singer. So then I really started, I think if Neo's So Sick was hot, I'm creating a song that sounds like Neo's So Sick,
Gotcha.
right? I wrote, this is why I am in complete awe of Chris Brown because I watched him from 16 years old coming up all the way to now where he's at. Obviously, he has won the talent and the charisma to do all of that, but he also pushed the right buttons for these records. And I think for me, and this is just Still in Love was one of my biggest records, but prior to that, because I'm like, I need to get the top producer. How can I get? I mean, there was nobody bigger at the time than the Stereotypes. But prior to that, I did a record with The Business, and they did Chris Brown Strip and The Business from here.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so
Shout out to them
shout out,
producers.
shout out to Dow and Kenny, man. They gave me two records. And so I thought I was out of here doing that shit. We did a song called All Night Long featuring, I think, one of the Northwest, King Leezy Soprano, one of my good friend of mine. But we did a couple records that were produced by The Business. So I was just trying to work with people that one were willing to work with me, and then two that had a name so that they can kind of get me into the industry instead of actually trying to develop my sound. Um, I also learned during this process that I was, because when you're so desperate to get on, you listen to everybody. You can't listen to everybody. There's a lot of people out there. You ever take advice? It's like, you can't take marriage advice from somebody who's never been married. So your single friend's giving you advice about marriage. What the fuck are you talking about? Like,
Message.
like I was getting a lot of stuff, people were giving me advice, never broke an artist, never been in my position, but because I respected them, I would listen. Then I started realizing it wasn't until COVID,
Okay.
when I grew my hair out, and it was a symbol of freedom for me. Um, this is 2009, yeah, 2019-ish. I wrote a song called Mamba Mentality. And I penned a song called 90s R&B because those were like the two records at the time that symbolized who I was as an artist at that moment. And when I got the attention of Warner Music Philippines and was able to do a deal with them, I think that that's where I started to develop this certain sound because people were like, all right, cool. You're going to get this kind of pop R&B thing going on. Nostalgia, not with 90s R&B roots, really emotional R&B, melodic. There's storytelling in it. So that's kind of like where my lane is. Coming back to what we just released in past November,
Okay.
it's my fault. That's the lane where I'm at now.
Okay. And does that feel comfortable for you?
Yeah, like grown man R&B. Like I can't, I'm 40. Like what am I doing? Singing about fucking three bitches in the club. Like I'm 40. That's
I got you.
and there's nothing wrong with the new R&B. You go to Spotify playlists and you hear the R&B lists that are on there, right? R&B X. I'm hearing all these records. I'm like, cool, this is cool. But I'm hearing them components of 90s nostalgia R&B in there. They're because they need that. That's
Yeah.
I grew up on that era, man. 112, Jagged Edge, Teddy Riley, Blackstreet, Bobby Brown, Old Michael.
Oh
That's my
shit. Yes.
um,
All right now.
you know what I mean? Like that's what I was on.
Okay. Now you also stated that you've been told no. You said a million more times than yes. And so can you break down one specific no that almost made you quit and why you didn't? You can't let these hoes get in the way. No, that's my favorite part. I ain't gonna lie on that deal song, but go ahead. Well, I'm gonna get on that next.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I can't believe that I'm actually gonna be, saying this on your platform. But I did a lot of the music to get girls because I used to get rejected a lot. So, it was like, I was so envious of some of my friends in high school and junior high, and they was the athletes and all this other shit. And then I just thought that it was a good way to get chicks, man. I remember before, like, if the date was going bad, and I would play the very first time I had my song on the radio was Alligator Skin. We're talking about radio here in Washington. Like they were playing this on whatever the 97 point something, and I went on a date and going bad, but I put my CD in. She's like, "Oh my God, this song?" I'm like, "That's me," and changed the date completely. Like,
Ah,
so I'm like, oh my God. All right. But going back to your question, I know would probably be,
yep. That one specific no that almost made you say fuck it.
I think it was when I had a sit down after the ladies' night out tour with my mom, and she was like, she's like, this isn't for you. Like you have no stability. You putting money into shit that's not getting anything back. You don't have a job. Um, You don't have any money in your savings. You haven't planned for your future. You don't got a house. You live at home. I was like, dang,
Mhm.
I think that was probably that no was bigger than any no's that I've ever gotten in the music industry. Um, but I
Uh,
also tell you, you know
and
what I'm
that's
saying?
and that's coming from your mama.
And 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 I'll tell you this, I'm just being completely honest. I've never really got into those rooms yet. I think that they're still on the horizon, and there's a reason why I haven't been in those rooms yet, is because once I get into those rooms, it'll be undeniable. Like you got to give me my shot, and I don't think I've really had that shot. But it goes back and forth, and I tell younger artists this all the time. We don't even know what we want. I don't know how many times I've talked to really respected colleagues of mine in the industry. They're
Hmm.
like, we get in there, we're like, oh shit, this is not what I don't, it's not what I wanted at all. And I think that God has really kind of blocked me from that so that I could concentrate on certain things like this.
Gotcha.
There have been definitely a lot of times where I've wanted to quit. Creating art is like, man, it's like making a baby, and then you got to bring your baby into the world, and you don't want nobody to call your baby ugly, right? Like that's hard. You
Yeah.
have to literally develop thick skin, and I think I developed that early because, I wasn't necessarily always first choice. Um, I had to earn everything that I had. I earned, man. Like I never paid my way. I mean, well, you paid your dues, but I never bought my way in.
Gotcha.
Um, but I think that was probably the one time that I almost quit was when my mother had that talk with me. And funny thing is we had that talk when I came back from LA, and this was right before DJ Funk Daddy took my tape and gave it to Steve-O.
Ooh.
So it's always like something, you just got to hang on, man. And
Yeah.
it's really just, even now, I'm looking at it now with the Warner situation. I was like, I want a record deal. I want to know what that shit feels like. Well, I got one. It wasn't what I expected at all. And that's my fault for not really learning and understanding the business. And this was what, only 7 years ago, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
2019.
See, your mama's trying to protect you.
I think so.
Yeah.
And
If you showed any, well, I'm pretty sure it was probably way worse than how you described it, but if you showed that sense of I failed, I'm pretty sure your mom she didn't like to see you like that.
yeah,
You
yeah.
see, and so that's where they come in, and it's like, and it's not, a lot of people will be like, oh, a person's mom or dad didn't believe in their dreams and stuff, and I'm like, no, but they don't like to see you in that space every day,
I,
you know.
she has been the constant rock. Her and my grandmother, she's never been wrong about anything that she's ever said. Uh, I mean, I get emotional just thinking about how she's helped me out. Um, and she's kind of been. We used to joke around. She would have been a motherfucker as a manager. She would have been incredible. She knew what she was smart. She knows what she's doing. Um, she's a teacher now. She actually helped me get my teaching job. That's how desperate. Like she was like, I'm not gonna let my kid fuck up.
Okay.
Uh, She had pulled in pride for me to go back to school, and I was against it. Everything that she's ever told me to do that I was against because I didn't want to do it, and I did ended up doing it anyway, was probably the best moves that I've ever done. Like,
Gotcha.
I just can't, Um, stay away from that girl. Be careful with that girl. Always worked out. Always.
Yeah,
And
mama knows best.
my
Well, hold
yeah.
on. Before I go to your record, it's my fault. Tell me about the schooling, since you brought that up about your mom
Yeah, yeah.
being teaching. So what you do?
So crazy thing is when I was doing all of the stuff at Ladies Night Out, I was also on tour, and then I was going back and forth. I helped open up the restaurant at BJ's Brew House in Tacoma Mall when it first came. So
Okay.
I was making connects there, and as I have a deep respect for the restaurant industry, especially servers, because you get cash right off the bat. It's like hustling, man. Right? Putting on a show. Hey, can I get some water for you? Blah blah blah. I was also bartending, doing all this other stuff. Um, but I was tired of the grind because after that, when you get off work, you go to studio, you tired, all this other stuff. So I'm like, all right, I don't want to do that no more. So my mom was like, look, why don't you come to Clover Park, and I got this little note taking job for you. Oh, okay. And note taking jobs for students with disabilities, so forth.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm taking notes, and then I'm in the classes, and I'm being in kind of like a TA, like a helper to some teachers, and I'm like started helping the students a lot. And I'm picking up. I became a student, so I'm watching how they're teaching. I'm like, okay, cool. So I started doing this like after school thing with these students. Like, yeah, if you guys weren't understanding it, you guys should stay after school. I'll help you. And I was doing that for free. Pretty soon, it was like one student became four students became 10 students. Pretty much, I had a classroom right at the end of class.
Oh shit.
And the dean at the time was like, "Who's that? Oh, that's Loretta's son. Does he teach? Oh, he don't even have a degree. Nothing. I didn't have no schooling." So she comes in. She's like, "Wow, is this something you want to do?" I'm like, "No, I'm just trying to help." And then they were like, "I mean, this is how much you can make as a teacher." And I'm like, "What?" And then she's like, "Do you have a degree?" And I was like, "I don't have a degree." So all that time that my mom was telling me, "You need a degree, you need a degree," and I didn't believe her. Now I'm like, shit, I should have just got my damn degree.
Yeah.
So I ended up going back to school at the University of Washington in Tacoma since it was
You
close.
you
They
done.
hired me on contingency. So like I could go to school with the intent of getting a degree so and to be a teacher because I was already doing the assistant work that the teachers were making. I just wasn't making that money. And this is
Gotcha.
what I tell students in my classroom all the time. We just live in a society, especially here, that you need some kind of certification that says that these companies can pay you what you're worth. Because if you don't have that shit, it don't matter if you have 20 years experience on a construction site. If you don't got your GED or these degrees, then they're gonna pay you this instead of even though you got all this expertise. So, I use a lot of my music stuff in my classrooms. Some of my students will find me and then then it becomes that whole thing. But I've been teaching for I love it. It's another form of being, and I found out that I found a lot of gratitude, and I found a lot of just joy in helping people and helping students achieve their goals. I make a promise to all my students that especially if you come through my class, when you graduate, I'm at commencement. I'm gonna watch you walk stage.
That's what's up.
It was so empowering, and I felt it was therapeutic for me also because maybe that was my calling. When I did the Warner Music Philippines deal, there was multiple times they were like, "Hey, let's move you back. Let's move you. Like let's move to the Philippines and all this." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then economically, it made more sense to stay here in Washington because I could still control my own entity and still have a job and so forth. But I
Okay.
balance both of them, right? And that's a testament to like the people, like especially my mom. Obviously, again, she was right. But yeah, I've been teaching. I have a deep um, commitment to these students of mine. Like
That's what's up.
it's just what it is. It's another form of paying it forward.
Okay.
How
You
about
know
you?
what, man? I commend you for that, bro. Like
Thank you.
just the giving back that you've been talking about, like we've been discussing. You've always you keep throwing out there like paying it forward. And so I just want to let you know, man, like I appreciate you doing that.
Thank you, bro.
There's a lot of people that don't.
You'll find, you know, I do a ton of mentorships. I was in the Grammy U program, Grammy University, because I've been a part of the Recording Academy for the last 5 years, 6 years. So I mentor a lot of these younger artists, and they think their life is over after like 21 if they don't have a record deal. I'm like, do you know how much more shit you have to accomplish? Do you know how much more things you can do? Because we are dangled the carrot about what it is. Social media is fucking bullshit. It's
Yeah.
unrealistic expectations. Um, you know, it's so, and I get it though. I completely understand how this whole game works, which is why I think that I'm in a position now where I feel like I'm powerful because I understand how it is. And it takes a while to get there. It's the journey. It really is. It's all about the journey. But one of the things that I found is that when you're actually helping people, you're helping yourself, man. Like it comes back tenfold. Um, I have a deep respect for the educational system. Obviously, my dream is to tour and do all this other stuff, and to make music because that's what I love. But I also love teaching. I love helping students.
Okay. Well, I am gonna touch on your connection. To go back to your record, it's my fault. I love that song.
Thank you,
Like I
man.
said, I
I
love that
love that
part.
song, bro. That's one of my favorite songs, man.
Yeah, I love the way you hit the notes, man. But the way you said that part just stands out to me when you was like, I shouldn't have let these hoes get in the way. Like, but it charted on iTunes with no label.
No label.
No paid promo either, and just community and fans.
Community and fans.
In an era of algorithm and budgets, as we were talking previously, what does that moment say about the power of grassroots support and real connections? So how you spoke about connections, like how did that help with that song?
I'm gonna give a little bit of prelude before it's my fault because after I was unhappy with my deal at Warner.
Okay.
Um, the way I got my deal at Warner was during the COVID area because during COVID, all the cream rises to the top. The bullshitters and the realists were separated because that's when Vine and TikTok kind of really took off because the content creators were able to create content. Those are the guys that are still have the staying power now.
Mhm.
Um, I was like, all right, cool. During the COVID, that year and a half, I released a song every month. That was able to get the attention of Warner Music Philippines. So I'm like, that correlation was like, all right, cool. This is it. Like this is dope. All the hard work pays off. It's like the work that you put in, you're gonna get the results. When we did the deal, I was so happy. I'm like, man, this is on. It was a streamline. I know it was a sister company. It's a smaller company because Warner Music Philippines is still a sub company for Warner Music, but like you're in the pipeline. But what I realized was it wasn't an actual record deal. It was a exclusive digital distribution deal where you come up with all of the funding. They're just a pipeline to help, right? And then they take.
Okay.
But the thing was, is when you're able to use their logo, when you're able to use their likeness and all this, it opens up a ton of doors.
Yeah.
Plus, you have access to all the Spotify playlist out, just the people that can help you. And I didn't realize that I didn't negotiate a marketing budget for me, so all of the marketing was coming from me. And so when I found that out, and I learned all of these different types of deals, I was like, dang, I should have signed, because now that all that music, I released a record called Dead Stock, and it was like almost 500,000 views worldwide. It was great, and I felt like I was making the best music that I was making at that time. I had grown out my hair, I had a look. I loved the dreads, or braids. I had the braids, the box braids. It was working for me, and at the time I was very I do black music. Like it's black music, man. I have to pay homage. I'm a guest. We're this is not our music. And
Mhm.
Filipinos are great imitators. We're great imitators. You go to the Philippines, you got somebody that can sound like Mariah Carey. They can do Usher.
Mhm.
And so I was learning, man, we don't have somebody in the forefront that wants to be us. We want to be Usher. We want to be Mariah. So that kind of fucked me up a little bit.
Mhm.
And so I'm starting to think, I'm hearing from my counterparts, you got to go where you're loved, man. Like, you know, you're not black, but you do black music. So I was using it as a way to pay homage, when you hear those, oh, he's invited to the cookout kind of shit, right?
I
Like,
got it.
and there was a very direct correlation with Filipinos and blacks. You go to the Bay Area, man, they're the same people.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and so I've just always been generally drawn to that. I never looked at it like that, but I'm not stupid. I'm aware that I didn't want to be a culture vulture. I wanted to be part of all of the movement and what they were doing, especially musically. So when you say, what's your contribution to the culture, especially here in the Pacific Northwest, that means a lot to me because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, cool. But being aware that I'm Asian, you're not stupid. You got to be aware that that's what it is. I remember before when I was doing the Ladies Night Out tour, one of the knocks on me was like, man, if he was a black singer, he wouldn't have got those. He wouldn't have got that opportunity. But because he was Asian, he was different. They were giving it to him, and that used to bother me, man. But it's true. There are a million people who could have been in my position. And I know for a fact there were great singers that were very deserving to be on that tour also. But you know what? I think it was God's calling. Like I was chosen to be on that. And I've said this before, I'm going to maximize every single one of my opportunities, every
Mhm.
single one, right? Because they only see the yeses. And so going back to the Warner situation, now it's the opposite because now I'm signed to Philippines, the Filipino brand, so
Yeah.
and then I realized, damn, I'm not really getting the love like that. I'm actually getting it more from my urban listeners. So that kind of messed me up a little bit. And then I had a really good mentor of mine. Shout out Uncle Nudie, man. And he was like, "You think too fucking much. You just stop
Yeah.
thinking. What are you doing? Just stop thinking. You want to do this all the man, fuck all that." So I started taking on that mentality, man. I'm just gonna do the music that I like. If I like it, I'm gonna do it. And prior to the "It's My Fault" record, I don't know if you were had got a chance to check up, but I was working on a different sound called Drill Love. It was R&B drill, and I
Okay.
had a whole album that was finished. I just had creative differences with the people that I was creating it with. Real big creative differences because I'm one of those people that don't take disrespect lightly. I also am very big with energy and being able to vibe with people. That's one of my biggest things. Like everybody that's ever worked with me, they can a testament one to my work ethic and my two the ability to collab very easily. Like I'm all about the product. But
Okay.
um prior to that project called Drill Love, which I was pushing super heavy, I had already written "It's My Fault," and I wanted to go with that, but I didn't. I I should have went with that first because we could have started this whole movement earlier. We talking about years earlier.
Okay.
But I would play it for these people, and they're like, it's all right. It's not, it's cool." When I decided to scrap that whole Drill Love project and just do um, what I wanted to do, the results, that's why it means so much to me because
Gotcha.
charting
That's the
independent,
connection.
I'm like, I knew I should have just went with my gut. And so, yeah, "It's My Fault" was written years ago. And for it to come out this past November and do what it did, we put a lot of work into it. It was three dudes. It was me, um, my business partner at the time, Donald Ballister, and a couple of homies that just were kind of planning, hey, how we gonna want to put this out? I remember playing it for some of the industry execs. They're like, it's all right, it's cool. I'm like, nah, it ain't all right. Just let me just get some. If we can get some traction, we shoot the right visuals for it, because people need that kind of music, man. That shit's missing. Like
Yes.
we need that kind of music, and so I just rode that hard. And I think even though right now it's not like my biggest as far as streaming, but as far as the impact
Mm.
and the organic reach, "It's My Fault" is still it's a slow burn record. And if you were to ask me, what's your sound, Rocky? What that right there is what I sound like. Like that's who I am.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Now, right now, you've got momentum. All to Myself just dropped featuring VZ.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're building towards Monarch, right?
Yes. Yep. I
Okay.
got an album called Monarch that I'm working on. Um, it's almost done. And again, I've learned to like we can have all the plans we want, Gutter,
Mhm.
everything ready to go, and on the turn of a dime, that shit could change, man. Just I had a huge music connect reach out to me a couple weeks ago. It was like, let's do a project together. And I'm like, damn, man, I got this album coming out, but it's when who it is, you're like, you can't turn that shit down. So it really there is no formula for this whole thing. I'm just going with the flow. I'm really just trying to find out these different ways. We're shooting the video and the visuals for all to myself. Um, I love V's. I think V's is very deserving and he works hard. I work rock with that, but I'm just trying to stay current, just trying to stay within my realms. And it also balances with who I am as a person and what I do, my livelihood.
Okay. Now, what are you trying to say as an artist right now that you maybe couldn't say before?
I think a lot of times now because you're about to see more of an acting side from me. I love acting too. I would
Okay.
more cinematic visuals. I think that I've pretty much allowed everybody into my life. Like a lot of people, that's why I think sometimes they'll be like, man, the people who are really close to me will be like, Rock, everybody knows you, but your circle is so big. It really isn't that big. I don't even like circles. It's corners because it's
Damn.
smaller. But that's part of the deal. Like you must allow people to see what they like because I tell story. I'll talk about V's for a sec. He, talent, all there, everything's there. Songs. What am I doing wrong? It's not about that, V's. It's about putting a story together. You got to have a story.
Yeah.
If you were to ask what my story is like, the underdog that turned legacy artist that is doing it his way authentically. That's my story. I incorporate my fiance and my kid into my narrative. They're in a lot of my content. I shoot a lot with my family. I'm a family guy, which is weird because the music that I do before it was to get the bitches. Like you got that's what it was. Now it's trying to transition into authentic R&B. And I think I've learned one of my biggest things that I've been able to learn is to separate the two. When you can separate, because this is entertainment industry, right? We're here to entertain, and then you have real life. The key sweet spot is to be able to merge both into where it becomes like this. Oh, okay, that's who Rocky is. There's the authenticity. I hate when people are like, man, Washington don't support. Man, that's for y'all. Washington supports me. I sell out shows. They buy my records. I have a good fan base. Um, and that's not by accident. That's by calculated movement, by staying true to yourself, staying authentic, and overall being a good person. I think if you're a good person, man, people can feel that. They can feel that energy.
Two things. So one, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna keep saying this. The reason why I don't think that Washington doesn't support hip hop artists, what I think is the issue, okay, and this is my personal opinion, is a lot of artists that are from Washington are copying everything else. They're not being true to themselves. And so when you have artists that's doing drill music like Chicago, or trap music like ATL, or you doing the hyphy sound like the Bay Area, I can just go to those spots and get those artists. But what is the sound of the Northwest? And I'm gonna keep saying this. I still think somebody who does hip hop or rap, whatever you want to call it, needs to incorporate grunge into the music. Grunge came in and overshadowed the hip hop scene here in Washington. Okay. And that's why I give a shout out to, like, when you said Criminal Nation and stuff like that, because they were the ones, like Criminal Nation, Sir Mix, all that stuff. They had a good hip hop movement that I'm pretty sure would have blew. But grunge just came in, and it could be the fact that it's more predominantly white in Washington State. But grunge was able to kind of come in and just overshadow the hip hop scene a little bit. So use that though and incorporate that. But now so that's the only thing I want to say about that. So yeah, you're right. I don't
I'm glad you brought that up because I wholeheartly feel the same way. There's a couple of artists. It's almost like if the rap isn't mainstream, that's what takes off out here. I remember listening to, like, during the heyday of Raz Simone. I was like, I've never heard that type of rap style. Right?
Yeah.
Like it was like almost rockerish.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't see why they won't use grunge, because I'm like, if you use grunge, because we're in a spot that's predominantly white, you're gonna get those, the backing from
Right.
that.
Right.
Yeah. Now, my second thing is this. I like the chemistry that you and BZ have. Like, y'all have been kind of going back and forth on each other's projects and
My dog, man.
Yeah. Can we expect a EP from y'all?
You know what's crazy is this is the second platform. I was just on Watch Your Tones podcast, and he said the same thing.
Yeah.
He's like, y'all need a EP. And V's, to his credit, has been on my helmet about that shit. That guy is a recording animal. He records like crazy. The only thing that for me, it's not about. I love V's shit, man. Like we jump on each other. We matter of fact, Monarch, my album has his producer all over that. His fingerprints are on that.
Okay.
Shout out.
What's holding the EP back?
I think it's just the timing of what it's doing. I think he got an album coming out called R&B.
R&BZ. Yeah.
Man, I done heard those records. They're amazing records. They fit for him. That's not far-fetched. I mean, we're definitely in conversation. We love It's My Fault. I feel like it's just not, and the reality of this is, even though, and I'm glad that you pointed out, it's very humbling. all organic, bro. You're charting without no label. The industry is about money. It's literally about money and the funding to get you on there. Um, you pay a radio promoter to pitch your songs to chart on IBA on the indie R&B charts. It doesn't just get picked up. Like we invested into that, and then when it got picked up, it hit top 40. It got to as high as 14, and it'll run until its course. It's still running now. It's just not as hot as what it used to be. So, you know, um, these blog placements, we just got picked up by The Source. We just got picked up by Rolling Stone Hype. Excuse me, Rolling Stone Spotlight, Rolling Hype. All these publications like those. They now because of those, I'm getting more interest, right?
Okay.
But you pay a PR person to pitch you for that shit, right? Nothing is free. Everything is basically the algorithm. Let me tell you something about these algorithms. A lot of these artists, they'll hire to bump up their views. I used to think it was probably getting on playlists. It's not. It's about your engagement. Right now, my number one streaming in Spotify is Brazil because I targeted ads. Learning how the meta ads, all that works, the metadata for ad space works on Google and for Meta is like changed my entire process because now we're targeting places you have to go where you are loved, where they fuck with your music.
Mhm.
I think a lot of times we're so drawn to, "Oh, I want to be the best in Washington. I'm not on the list. Why am I not on the top 25 list?" It's that none of that shit matters. You go where the people love you. And I'm Filipino. I thought it was the Philippines, but and some records are doing well in the Philippines. Some records are doing well in Brazil. Some records are doing really well in France. Like the global reach for where your music can go. There is an audience for your music, and they will believe in you if your shit is authentic, and they believe that what you're saying is true. And so that's really been the interest of what I'm doing. And I challenged VZ to do that. Like, hey, these records that you're making are wonderful. We know you can make records, but what's your story? Incorporate your family. He don't want, and again, I don't want to do that. People don't want to mix it, and that's fine. So you got to find what your story is. My story is the narrative of the underdog that tries to make it, being authentic, and then of course, quality R&B, man. I'll put my catalog against anyone, and I'm not just saying this out of just tooting my own horn. I just believe in all of the records that I made. I'm not going to make anything that I don't believe in.
Okay.
And so I think people gravitate towards that. They want to support you. They want to support people that are going after their dreams. Washington is a great place, but I also understand the reality of things that if you want to be into a cross major market, you need to be in those New Yorks. You need to be in Atlanta. You need to be in LA. That's just where you got to be. When I was doing, I had a mixtape that came out probably 10, 12 years ago called Mr. Versatility. And I'm doing a lot of rapping on there because I was with a group called On Fire. Shout out to Low and L Dubs. Those guys really taught me how to be rappers. And if you YouTube On Fire Entertainment, I'm singing the hooks and rapping hooks also because sing rapping, I'll never forget when I heard Bryson Tiller. I'm like, man, I was doing that. Or,
When you brought up the drill and the R&B and drill album, that's the name that popped in my head. I was just like, oh, Bryson Tiller. I was like, damn, he had that before them. Like
I
as
would
far as
love, man. I remember when Trey Songz did, "Oh, is Mr. Steal Your Girl?" Like,
oh yeah.
I was like, damn. And then prior to that, R. Kelly, the TP12, like, he was doing. So these all come in different eras, right? And so when you aren't really sure of who you are, you just begin to mimic. And I don't even like the word mimic, but I always call it pay homage, but you tend to copy what you feel people like instead of you actually being yourself and then doing it. So now I feel like I'm doing what I like and people are reacting to it because they're like, "Oh, that shit is real."
Well, now I got to ask you this, not just as a fan, but for the culture. Who are your top 5 artists that shaped you?
Top 5 artists that shaped me. Number one, vocally, it'd be Donny Hathaway.
Oh shit. Okay.
wanted to be Donnie. Like I loved his songs. I wanted to sound like him. Usher, for sure.
Okay.
Usher. Um, Donnie Hathaway, Usher. I go producer slash rapper. It's a toss up between Kanye and Pharrell. Like when they
Okay.
came out.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that's you gonna count that as four, and then obviously Michael Jackson, man, Prince, Michael Jackson. So it's like Pharrell, Kanye, Prince, Michael Jackson, right? Yeah,
I got you. Okay.
like that kind of stuff. Like, yeah.
Okay, that's a solid top five.
Mhm.
Now, I don't like ending with what's next because, like I told you before, this platform is about documenting legacies.
Mhm.
And when it's all said and done, and somebody finds your story years from now, what did you want them to understand about your contribution to the culture?
I gave everything that I had. I maximized every single part of my talent. Um, I wasn't the see. People are like, you gotta stop saying that because people are like, man, I never looked at myself as a vocalist. Right? I didn't think that I was like blowing people away with my vocal ability. But then I'll hear somebody who's like, "Man, you are amazing sing you're an amazing singer. I can't." I think that this was just from like years of being told that I wasn't good, right? You got to break through that. I think that I make the records that fit what I do. What I do really well, right? But I think it comes down to somebody who gave it his all. My work ethic was the thing that was going to be able to carry me. I would outwork anybody. I don't care how good you are as a singer or as an artist. I felt like if I worked harder than you, then I'd still be in the same playing field, right? Somebody who loves really, really hard. Like if I put my mind into something and I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to completely do it. Family over everything. I'm a huge family man, man. Like if you noticed, my biggest inspirations and my biggest supporters have been my family. Loyalty is really important to me. Um, and then of course, just I like you do it for the audience. Like when you are, there's no. That's why live shows are everything. When you feel that connection with the audience,
Mhm.
it's irreplaceable. And so that's kind of I think that, and I'm a big firm believer in God, man. So kind of to wrap everything up, like what's Rocky Sandoval's story? It was family, man, family over everything. Um, I really maximized all of the resources and the talent that I had. I used to want to sing like Wanye from Boyz II Men with all them crazy ass runs, but my voice isn't built like that, right?
Gotcha.
I can't. That's not what I do. Did you watch the Tank Tyrese verses? Did you get it?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I watched some of it, especially when they got down to the turtleneck part.
Man, it's I think Tank vocally is just amazing. Like fuck, man, just amazing.
Yeah.
But I like what Tyrese said. Tyrese was like, I don't sing like that. I'm not gonna sing circles and runs and all this shit. But what I do, I love what I do. There's a real raspiness and a real in your face with my voice. And I think that my voice, I should have leaned in more on it instead of me thinking that I was just this artist because I do love singing. I've studied it. I know who we feel are the greats, which is totally subjective, but in a way, like, I think that I never really gave myself enough credit for being a vocalist. And that, I think that that's just comes from trying to get over your own head. But yeah, it'd be those things, man. Like, I'm a family man. I really, really, really enjoy making music for people. And I work hard. Like, that'll be those three things. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, as I'm thinking of it, I'll never forget, man, because my one of my very first performances as an artist was I sang for a predominantly black audience, and back in the day, I looked like a Backstreet Boy, so they didn't even give me a shot until you start singing, and then
Mhm.
that natural high of getting. I've always wanted to do the Apollo, like and I actually did. something very similar at Washington State University when I was in high school, and I ended up winning that shit. It was like a contest. I did Boyz II Men's "End of the Road," and like the audience will boo or they'll let you sing.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always wanted to do the Apollo for those types of reasons because again, I pay homage, uh, and as long as you are authentic, people will relate to you, man.
That's what's up. You pay it forward. Well,
Yeah.
hey, from Gutter Kane and Serving the Raw, Rocky, I want to give you flowers.
Thank you, man.
I want to say, I want to thank you for the contributions that you have given us, past, present, and future. The story, your journey, showing the paying forward, the connection, and just the ambition and drive that you have as being an independent artist and showing that you don't need this, big ass machine, to get your music and be heard out there. So I want to thank you. And like I said, you deserve everything that you have accomplished and more.
Thank you, man. That
Okay.
means a lot. These are the types of shows. I remember I don't know who reached out to me. I think it was My that reached out to me to say, Maisha, you met Gutta, he's gonna reach out to you. I actually I want to thank you. These are the types of the shows, the podcasts, because from the moment we got on the phone, I'm a real big energy person, bro. And, like I'm a teacher also, so I manage a ton of personalities. When we talked on the horn for the first time and when you reached out, I was like, yeah, we locked in. And when you were telling me about what was going on with your lady being sick and how you wanted to respect, the process and all this,
Uh,
just hearing the questions and the way you perform, the way you present the questions, the professionalism and a lot of the stuff that you say, we locked in, bro. This is the first of many conversations, hopefully, and as my story continues to grow, you'll definitely be one of the first people to be getting the exclusive shit, man. So I appreciate
no.
you.
Oh, you welcome. Like I said, man, this is a safe space for you, bruh. So anything that you're promoting, anything that you're doing, we can always lock in, do another episode. Because I also do like smaller segments where if an artist or is promoting anything, whether it's a book, a film, album, and you just want to do a segment where we're just discussing that particular project, that's always available to you. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
that's love, bro. I
Yeah.
will.
So
I got you locked in, man.
okay.
I can't wait for this episode to come out, man. I'm.
Oh yeah. Look, May is probably like I'm excited about all my interviews, everyone I do. May is probably the first time where I've had like a consistent amount of artists because the first one is Mr. Servon that's with No Limit, and then after that is Cinda Williams, who was the actress from Mo Better Blues, as
Yeah.
well as One False Move, and then Gripster is the third dropping in May, and that one Gripster is signed to Ice T's label.
Okay.
But she was also in Dangerous Minds and stuff, and so she's been doing a lot of stuff down there in Oakland. That's her roots and stuff with the hip hop. And then the last one to solidify the whole month is you dropping at the end of May, man. So yeah, May's booked.
Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Being
So
part of that lineup, and I did some homework. I'm a homework guy too, man. I did some homework on you. Love the way that you do your journalism, and how you allow people like us, and allow us creatives to come out here and do our thing, man. It means a lot. So I am supportive in anything that you got going on, and I'm just glad we locked in, bro.
already.
Cool.
Now, do you still play the saxophone?
I do. Go listen to my confessions, man. I'm playing saxophone on that album. Like that saxophone is not an AI. It's not a sample. That's me
Oh,
playing.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
shit.
me.
Okay. All right.
I
Well,
wanted.
hey.
Remember when Prince was doing all of his instruments on his records?
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to be like, yeah, I did that. So like when you hear it, it's a really prominent part in the song of my confessions. But yeah, that's me playing sax.
Okay. Are you going to incorporate that more into your?
I might. We'll see, man. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't put too much pressure on you and shit. You
Nah,
know
nah,
what I'm saying?
I
All right.
appreciate you, bro.
All right, so I'm gonna give a big shout out to all my servers for tapping in for another episode of Serving the Raw. I hope y'all enjoyed the ride. If you did, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and drop a comment below. Let us know what you think. You know, you can catch me on all your favorite streaming platforms, and we will be back next Wednesday with another 5 episode. I want to thank Rocky Sandoval for cementing his legacy and documenting it to us and stuff like that, and also for just giving us your time, man. I really do appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And
Anytime,
then,
bro.
all right, and until then, enjoy the rest of the week and stay solid. Peace.
Peace.
Yes, Lord.